have things buried deep.
For some of us, it's intentional. For others, it could be a survival tactic.
But in order for you to heal and grow into your purpose,
Into who you were truly meant to be, sometimes you gotta have those uncomfortable conversations.
man, it's time we unpacked. Welcome to Unpack. My name is Aaron Eason, aka Mr. Always Good, Never Bad.
And I'm Greg Figueroa, aka Felony Fit.
And today we're gonna unpack relationships and the different aspects of how us men have to deal with relationships, whether it's intimate relationships, friendships, connections to your family, family members, your relationships at your job, just relationships, which are probably the things that we deal with issues with in terms of how men respond to things or unpack things. So we're gonna talk about relationships.
Using the same concept that we used last week, we take our bag and we unpack some of the things in it. For the sake of my marriage and my situation, I'm not taking off my wedding ring, but I will say that the wedding ring is the topic of discussion right now. And just breaking down some of the nuances that go into romantic relationships, and just some of the challenges that we face every day as men in this world, navigating, the world of social media, the world of, perception and what people believe we are supposed to present to the world, and then still being who we are and who we need to be for our significant other. That's a fine line that we all got to walk every day. So I think that's important we talk about that.
So when it comes to relationships, I think one of the first things men have to have is a vision. And a lot of times as men, we know what we want, but we don't really know what we want. A lot of times it's enough for us to start on the road in our own way, create our own energy behind how we want to get going and chase our dreams and our goals. But a lot of times, none of us are really prepared to attach a person to that process because our priorities are not so much in order that our vision is clear enough to say, hey, join me for the ride.
I think the fact that our vision is not clear enough is something you really got to touch on, because sometimes our vision is not clear enough to notice that we have quality people. Like, as a man who's dated, I know you've dated, I'm sure you've probably met quality people in your lifetime, but because of whatever you might have been through, in your previous relationships, you didn't hone in on whatever might have been there. You didn't kind of zero in on what potential might have been there because of whatever trauma you had that you have never dealt with, pertaining to relationships, Like,
I think what happens with me in my personal situations, I lock into a vision with us. I detach myself from my goals and I make it an us thing. In the past, I gave up so much to the idea of what the relationship could mature into because I understood that loyalty and that evolving was important for it to grow into marriage, it to grow into a connection.
But if you put unnecessary or unjust expectation on something before it manifests itself, that could also lead to disappointment. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes,
that's very true.
sometimes we just gotta let things be and let things materialize. Like, I could say, like, to the world, we sitting here talking, but we know each other in our real life, in our personal space. Like, the person that I am now, I wouldn't be that person if I didn't have my significant other. If she didn't come into my life and institute herself the way she did, I wouldn't be the person that I am now. So now the vision that I have going forward has changed. You know what I'm saying? The vision that I have going forward, sometimes you ask for things and you ask for things with a particular vision in mind, but we don't always, take heed to the fact that life is going to throw curveballs.
Always, yeah.
And what we really want as men is that supportive foundation, that supportive base. Because if my vision changes tomorrow, and my dream for me changes tomorrow, I'm confident that Francesca's gonna support that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you can go in.
See, but
If you have a vision and you put undue expectations on somebody who hasn't earned it yet or hasn't shown themselves to be capable of that kind of responsibility, and you build somebody up to something in your mind and then it doesn't work out, you're kind of disappointed. That might make you want to steer clear of the next relationship that presents itself.
well, I won't go that far as to how I respond to it. I think now, after going through a failed marriage and a failed relationship where I had expectations, where I had this vision of where we were going, and when it ended, I didn't really have, I ain't have it in me to want to do it again right away. At
Right.
least I still kind of don't. And the thing is, I found out it's because I was always giving up a large part of myself for the idea of who we were going to be or what we were going to be. And it was really, really hard to understand how to just have my vision and stick to it, prioritize my passions and my goals for me, and kind of like hope that the person I was rocking with rocked with it, because I never did it that way. And I think when you end up trying to be everything to everybody and nothing to yourself, it starts to make you regret the idea of what you thought you were building or the relationship that you were trying to have, because you've never went in there with your own energy and your own passion for it to be supported and loved on and affirmed. So now I'm starting to realize, I'm not shifting for someone else, but I also have to know that when I go into that next thing, who I am can be respected, affirmed, and loved, and then supported. Because a lot of people support you by just being by your side.
Well, I think also something that you got to be very, careful to understand is that your picture of yourself has to be, to say it the right way, I don't want to say you have to change the way you see yourself, but you have to be willing to change things about yourself in order to institute a picture that involves two people. Like, if you have a vision for yourself, then you can go into a relationship saying, I'm unwilling to do this for this. It's a vision for you. But if I have a vision for myself and Francesca, I have to go into things thinking about her reaction, and other things. And that's all part of being in a relationship and being in a romantic relationship where you share a union with somebody. Now, if you're dating, everybody is not given that same latitude of continuance.
That's true.
If you find something about somebody, find out something, or something turns you off, you have every right to wipe your hands and be done with it. But when you commit to something long term, your vision and your scope has to be open enough to be inclusive of that other person and their dreams, their goals, things like that. If you're not willing to work with that, you're going to be hard pressed to find somebody willing to work with yours.
I don't think that that's where my issue so much lies. I think it's when you lose sight of what you say you want to do,
Right. I get that.
and realign it with something that isn't really what you're passionate about. So I may be passionate about the relationship, but I'm not passionate about what we're doing in it. Like, meaning, like,
Or is it that
because there's things that I still want to get done, but I'll put it on the side to sacrifice it for this, because this I want more. This I prioritize more.
Well, you got to be passionate about the relationship, but at the same time, you have to know how to compartmentalize things that are important. And you shouldn't have to lose your passion for who you are to be in a sustainable relationship or the things that you want. And if the person that you're with or the person that you're dating or spending the majority of your time with doesn't see that, there's no problem if that person is not for you. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Those are things that as we come into adulthood, and I say that and I stress that because when women come into adulthood and when men come into adulthood, generations apart in most cases. You know what I'm saying? As far as maturity goes. But when we come into adulthood, we start to realize that there are some things, not that you give up as far as dreams or aspirations, but there are things you start to prioritize and you start to put things in certain orders and say, I'm willing to achieve this for us before I achieve this for me. Because getting us there will make it easier for me to get there. You know what I'm saying? Like I know for a fact, like,
when you pick the right partner, you can play that game, in my opinion.
Well, that I'm speaking from
Yeah,
the
from your
perspective of
perspective,
a
because we
person.
both know.
Right.
You've done that before, and it hasn't went that way.
100%. But I think that so much of what we talk about and so much of our conversations is about the growth and recognizing where we need to grow. So now, being that I have the experience that I'm blessed to live, and then I got a brother who is in that transition period. Like you have so much data to see, what's going on, because you're tapped in with the real world. You're tapped in with some strong people as far as the foundation in your life, your morals, your values are in check. But then you see healthy relationships. So it gives you a lot of data of things that are out there so that you could make a sound decision for your next relationship move. What type of person supports you, what type of energy you want around you, you know what I'm saying? Because not every day is gonna be a good day.
True.
And not every venture that you want to go off into is going to be supported by your significant other, not because they're not supporting you, but because they might not see that as something that's best for you. Now, if they're wrong in that situation, that's yet to be determined, but you have to be open to hearing that perspective.
I mean,
You know?
I think the discernment lies in understanding that the person you're becoming is going to cost you people, things,
100%.
relationships.
I said this to you before. There's a saying that if you're not losing friends, you're not growing.
Facts.
And it comes with it comes with the growth. It comes with experience. Like there are gonna be some people that don't go on to the next leg of the race with us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're a part of the book, but not a part of the next chapter.
Right,
I get that,
100%.
and I think that's where I'm at. Like I'm starting to discern my relationships, my connections. Yeah, I talk about this all the time. We're experienced. We're in experience. I'm in experience, and I have to really weigh who I get to experience, who I get to allow people to experience me. Like I gotta really kind of calculate that now, because the value of what I have, the value of where I'm going, the value of what I want, it can be distracted by people that are just like available to me or available to want me for their own purposes. I had a person, last two chicks I was talking to. I hate to do it this way, but I'm gonna do it this way. They wanted to be with me, but they didn't know what it took to be with me. Like they liked the idea of having a relationship with me. They liked the idea of, because they pictured it all.
Right.
And I couldn't do that. Because the version of a woman that I needed wasn't someone that just like, I could see myself with you. I like the idea of you. But like when they talk about supporting me, when they talk about wanting to do for me, and like, it's like, yeah, but you support me by just being there. Like the energy that you get from Francesca, bro, it's not an average energy that comes from women, bro.
Trust me, I know that.
Which is why I keep saying, like, I'll know based on the, like you said, the data that I'm seeing put out. Like, I'm like, yo, when a chick can tell me, yo, hey, why you at home, like, on your ass? Like, yo, I locked this in for you. Go do this. Or, yo, I made a phone call. Even though I could have made that same phone call, she made the phone call.
Right.
Yo, get over there. Like
That's
just stuff that you already know. Like, my vision is clear enough for her to keep it clear for me. You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean. I feel like that's why I think God is preparing this energy in me for me to kind of know what I want to do, be so disciplined that, like, lately, son, I ain't even slipping up, bro.
Well, that's what it's supposed to be. I mean, and that's what discipline is. That's what discipline is. That's what growth is. That's what maturity is. You feel me? Like, not everybody that we come across in our life, like I just said, is here to stay. But when you find somebody who their energy just naturally aligns itself, you know what I'm saying? They support you for who you are because they see something in you that maybe you don't even see in yourself. You dig? Like, when that kind of thing happens, you got to hone that. And you got to nurture that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't allow the baggage that we talk about bringing from one relationship to the other to taint that experience. Like, for instance, I get what you're saying, and I see your life day to day. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes just that one person might be somebody you don't even give a second thought to. You don't know what God has in store. And I'm not saying that person's in your life now. What I'm saying to you is that we can't let our previous experiences with people who are not on our level blind us when somebody comes across our path that is beneficial to our growth and our betterment. That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying?
So I hear that, right? But the truth is,
Because what's your idea of supporting you? Because the idea of support
it's not like
it
co-signing what I'm already doing. It's
varies, exactly.
good job. Like,
You know?
I have all that.
If you just
I'm
want to
talking about
cheerlead at
someone
him, you
that's
know, me.
affirming me day in, day out. That is like getting me outside of the element of
But you do know that affirming you doesn't always mean telling you what you want you to
right.
hear.
But that's what I'm talking about. Holding me accountable. Like this levels of support that I expect from a woman that understands the value that she has in my life and isn't afraid to sacrifice it by telling me about myself. Isn't afraid to sacrifice it by telling me to get up and go. Put me in a position to be more than I'm.
Put you in a position to win. Put you in a position.
Yeah,
Put
and
yourself in a
it's
position
not
to
even
win.
like literally you have access to this or money for that. I'm talking about literally seeing my vision and making sure I am on it all the time. I don't put myself in a position to go left or right. I steer clear of the bullshit. And that's one aspect of it. But then the reality
Is there a thought, and this is just me playing devil's advocate here, is there a thought where you could be in a relationship or find a person that is supportive, but not in the way you just described, but they're supportive in that they eliminate all the other stress factors. Like when home is dope, you can thrive in this world.
True.
Like when a man, like, you know, if your wife isn't into the influencer life or the endorsement life, sponsorship life, whatever it is that you try to do, and you know she just has a different vision of what professionalism is or whatever she wants to do as far as a career is, could she be equally as supportive in your eyes if she is just doing what's necessary for you to sustain a happy household? So when you come home and the stress that the world put on your back, you got a place where it's a safe haven where you could just come and relax, because that support is something you can't even measure.
now let's be honest. Don't we go through those situations where we're going through hell and the person we come home to, even though they're doing their job, we are not being the type of person that's able to still be okay because we're not sure how to unpack our shit with that person, or we're not sure how to be
100%.
vulnerable. We're not sure how to keep it a stack.
100%.
I think that's the space of growth I've had to mature into, like learning to connect with my partner, even while shit is bad.
I think
I think that the fear of her seeing someone that's less than her, seeing the failed version of me. I have this thing about me where I'm chasing my girlfriend, not chasing her. I'm courting her every day. I'm appropriating not just my looks, my behavior. I'm setting myself up to get her to like me every day. And sometimes when I can't feel like I can do that, I'm afraid. And maybe this is me being afraid of not being loved or liked. Like that comes from something rooted deep in my childhood that I had to address. But 9 times out of 10, I think men go through the fact that we don't want to be seen when we fucked up.
Yeah.
And depending on the person you pick, once you go through that first stage where you allow you kind of let her see that and she handles it right, then it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, that's that vulnerability.
Like now I know I can do this with you and you can get me back right without having to like give me money or like give me access. It's just being a good woman.
Just being a cornerstone. Like,
right.
You know, there's is so much to be said for, you know, I know it might sound like a cliche. They say behind every strong man or behind every successful man is a strong woman, right? You know, maybe in this world nowadays, we ain't supposed to say shit like that. They supposed to be equal. We supposed to be standing next to each other, whatever the fucking case may be. But there's no true statement ever spoken. You know what I'm saying? Because I've personally, in my opinion, you know what I'm saying? I know we get into a lot of things and our opinions differ. But in my opinion, there's no truer words ever spoken because, yo, bro, there's no, like, I've been through hell. You know my story. I've been through hell. And there's nothing more that puts me more at ease than getting home at night.
Yeah, but has it always been that easy?
Nah,
to be that?
Nah, it hasn't.
Based on all the things you used to do and used to feel.
No.
That's what I'm saying.
It hasn't. It hasn't. But what I'm saying is, number one, I've earned that right. I deserve that, but that's besides the point. But I'm saying it's something that we had to work for. It's something we had to work for. We had to get to that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? We had to get to that because, especially coming from where I was coming from, not just being in the dating game, but coming from a background of being incarcerated for a long time, you know, not having access. You know, when you come home from prison, you know, your vision is kind of, you know, you kind of got, you know, one thing in mind. You know, you thinking with one head, not the other. You know what I'm saying? So you tend to put yourself in company and put yourself around people where you can really see and evaluate what's out there. You know what I'm saying? Where you can really evaluate what's out there. So now, once you do that, you realize that not everybody's worth your energy. Not every woman that looks good in the face is worthy of you sleeping with her.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Not every woman who has a great job is worthy of embarking into a relationship with her. You know what I'm saying? Like, those qualities have to show themselves, and they show themselves in the moments of vulnerability. Them qualities show themselves in the moments where your back is to the wall. You know what I'm saying? You might just be dating a woman or dealing with a woman or sleeping with a woman, whatever the case may be. But if she gets a glimpse of you at your most vulnerable state, or you get a glimpse of her at her most vulnerable state, your next move, your reflex, what you do innately and who you are to that person, that's who you really are. And that's what they get to see. You know what I'm saying? That's what they get to see. That's when they can make that decision like, damn, even if I ain't got a mill and shit fucked up, this person gonna hold me down. So now it's like, when I get that meal, she gotta be good for half, because I was losing my fucking mind beforehand.
Facts.
You
So
know what I'm saying?
I tried. I went through life with that thought. Right? I mean, but like, I think I never really took the time to isolate myself and really be alone.
100%. This shit happens.
I don't like this shit. I don't need it. I don't have to be alone. But the problem is, there's a certain level of maturity I need to be at based on the value of what I think
But what's
of a
alone?
relationship.
So what's alone?
Alone is legit
Not in a relationship.
not having sex with a woman just because I can.
Okay,
And not
dig,
talking
okay.
to women to sustain or build a relationship at all.
Okay.
Just having my connections with my
I wasn't
friends.
asking you to define it for me. I just wanted you to be clear, because
I'm sorry?
I wasn't asking you to
Oh, yeah,
define
yeah,
it for
yeah.
me. I just wanted you to be clear,
Because
you
a
know,
lot of times
we
alone,
interpreted it a lot of different
alone
ways.
can mean just not in a relationship.
Right. That's
But
what I
you can
wanted
still
to
be killing something.
Exactly.
And making it clear, which I was trying to do.
Which
and
in
it
most
wasn't working.
Which in most cases most men are
Exactly.
doing when they
Exactly.
say they alone.
I'm alone. And the thing is, I did it for a few months one time, and I felt like my life evolved. My doors started opening. And then I gave myself a break. And I started to wild out. And I started to, you know what I mean?
know,
And
Don't be so hard on yourself. First
well, no, when
and
I say
foremost,
when I
because-
say I think I'm sorry, because I don't. When I say wild out, I mean I went from one aspect of thought to a whole nother, and you know that's what happens when you get lost in your, especially in something that you're not used to doing. I'm not used
That's
to
what happens
wilding.
when you react off of trauma. Like, trauma doesn't mean that your next behavior is always going to be something violent, but it's something that's still detrimental to your well-being. Like,
Facts.
those fucked up experiences, you reacting to trauma. Like, the premise of the show, it always takes us back to the premise of the show. You ain't unpacked those bags. You feel me? So you reacting off the traumatic experiences that you've had in the past. So that's what has built your perspective going forward. You feel me?
Yeah.
So being alone sometimes, in the regard of where I know you were going with it, is sometimes the best thing for a person to be able to isolate themselves, not just from other people, but from other people's expectations, other people's opinions, other people's responsibilities, and the things that just jumble our mind and make us forget about us. You can't forget about you. You know what I'm saying? Like you said previously in your previous point,
Can't
when
be
you try to be everything for everybody.
and nothing to yourself.
You know what I'm saying? But you also, and I go back to stressing the point, you also have to be open to realizing and knowing when that person or those people show their faces in your lifetime. Like, when God puts somebody around you that's good people, that's good spirit, good energy, you have to be, detective enough to know who those people are and evaluate where they stand in your life. Because if you don't, you know what I'm saying, you're going to end up letting a lot of good people slip away, and you're going to end up having a circle full of negative or inconsistent energy. And then it's going to be hard to go wherever you want to go next.
I think that's why I think isolation is important then. Because I'm not looking for a way to feel for the next person to be the person I date or a wife. Because that wasn't how I got into my last relationships, and I don't think that's how it's gonna happen.
Right.
I just think on my journey, the process of someone coming in and not being a distraction, like I was dealing with people and having to operate in a certain way for them to see me.
Yeah.
And I was losing time, energy, and money just to make sure that I connected in one way that I wanted to, which is no disrespect, just to have sex.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, I enjoyed their company, but the reality is I had to do a lot to get to that. And so the plus side of making sure I got to that point was to have sex, because my schedule, I start at 4 a.m. in the morning.
Right.
I get home at almost 8 o'clock at night. And a lot of times, I don't want nobody to have to sacrifice their life for me. So I don't want you coming over my crib, having to come over late, leave early. So I'll just pop into your situation when I get there.
So let me ask you a question, just again, from devil's advocate perspective.
All right.
Like, I'm trying to say this, because I don't want it to seem argumentative, but like, would you say from the things that you're saying, would you say that you're ready? Like, not to say that you should be in one tomorrow, but would you think you're ready to be in a relationship? Because there are things that I understand where you're going, and I understand there's certain things we don't say, but I'm kind of like just putting these things together in my mind, and I know what you want to do from a career standpoint, right? And I remember when we met, I had similar aspirations as far as how to use the gram to monetize it for fitness and whatnot like that. We've taken different trajectories. You've seen a lot of success in areas, and you're growing, and that's great. But to be in a relationship or to get into a relationship when you're at this stage in your career, do you think it'll be easy or difficult for you to find a woman that will say, okay, I have to be all right with my man, doing certain things or presenting himself in a certain light to the world for the sake of success? You know what I'm saying? Like, is the trade-off, is that what you're trying to trade off? Because to find, and not to say it doesn't exist, I'm not saying that, but to find a woman that encompasses all of that still give you the allowances and the leeway
to grow into the person I want to grow.
To grow into that, because to an extent, once you commit to a relationship, and this is something that I fought Francesca for a long time on, but now I'm to a point where not only do I understand it, but for my mental health, it's better for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't sustain a growing, blossoming relationship and that thirst trap energy from Instagram. I couldn't have both. You know what I'm saying? And once I realized that I couldn't have both, that not having both makes me sleep better at night, makes me more productive during the day, that makes me more responsible financially. Like, it's better for me. Like, you have to be willing to let people in to show you, you know what I'm saying, the growth that you can make. If that makes sense. Does that make sense?
So to date me,
does it make sense?
To date me outside of Instagram, you need a level of assuredness and security, regardless, because we both know Instagram don't have to exist for the attention we get when we step into a room.
100%.
When we go through.
But it's an avenue that we use to shoot it out there to the entire world.
Granted, but I've had a narrative that I've stuck to. I've had a message that I've stuck to. I might do a little more, a little less, but I will literally explain how well connected to motivation and inspiration and intentional trying to give people good energy. I do not do anything negative or provoking my own like cockiness or like wanting attention. I'm not doing that. Because there's a lot, I could do a lot more.
Understand that as a person who knows you and a person who got love for you, sometimes it's hard to tell the difference.
All right. Respectfully. I get that because at the end of the day, the gram is the gram. Like, you're going to put on
100%.
the best show you can.
100%.
And you're not going to see anything else. However, my intent is my intent. And I've been pretty damn consistent with it, right? And I can definitely manage not doing things and doing things, but I'm not going to throw away who I want to become for a relationship to not last. Because I was 18
But don't
years
you
old.
have? But don't you have to make certain sacrifices?
Yes, I've
to
done
see
it.
if
Done
the
it.
relationship could last.
I've done it. I think I could do it again. That's not the point. The problem is,
But let me ask you. Let me just give it to you like this. An example. If you meet somebody who, in your mind, in your eyes, is everything that you want, and she says to you, she meets you, and you guys are together now, a year, 2 years, and she says to you, out of respect for me, would you stop doing this? How do you react? Because before you answer, because understand that that's a very real possibility when we're putting ourselves out there in a certain way. That's a very real possibility. And if you have someone that you think is deserving of that kind of sacrifice, where it's not necessarily even a sacrifice, it's just a challenge. Like, how can I still get the attention I get, but present myself to the world a little more covered up, a little bit more buttoned up, figuratively and literally speaking? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I've done that.
There's a fine line that you have to walk there. So you can't say, you're unwilling to do this so that because sometimes it might present itself where this is what's best for you and you know it. But if God presents something to you that's what's best for you and you know it, and you throw it back at the hopes of getting something else down.
Have you ever sacrificed anything for anyone before this relationship?
If I'm being honest, no.
So you've technically never failed in that space yet, respectfully. In that full-fledged, like you haven't given things up to an extent. All right, so here's the thing. I've done it for years. And everyone I've left behind is living the life that they want to live, happy, free, and I'm now reasserting myself into the passions and goals I've always had. I've literally been chasing the same thing, and this is not Instagram attention. Like being a motivational speaker, being an entrepreneur, owning the companies that I own, being a leader in general, like taking my talents and skills and building people up.
Right.
The energy that I feel like I was born with, the energy that I feel like I would never run away from,
right.
like leading a pack.
Type shit.
Yeah, like I feel like my purpose is in building human beings.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm built through that process as well. I've always taken the back seat to how God can use me to narrate a different story for my relationships. So I sacrificed when I'm 18 to raise a child that's not mine, to divest into a relationship that requires me not to explore the world, requires me to explore the idea of this unity.
Understand too, and I want you to continue, so it's very brief. Understand too that despite us having different pasts, choices that didn't land you in prison don't make them okay or not bad. Like, it's a terrible idea as an 18-year-old to take on the responsibility of some other man's child. That's a terrible idea. And that's gonna lead you to the shit that you're doing or that you become in life. And I'm not saying that it's something that you plan to do, and it's just what happens to us. We are a product of the way we react to the things that happen to us. So I understand what you're saying, and I want you to continue.
Give perspective on that?
Understand.
Perspective is I fell in love with her child. I didn't fall in love with her.
Bad idea.
No. The bad idea from your perspective.
No. It's a bad idea.
Look at it. I actually think that grew me up. That taught me a lot of things that I was not going to learn. Hold on. I had no perspective of what I was doing from anyone else. That was being done.
Nobody who's 18 does. That's my point. Nobody who's 18 has no perspective of anything. And that's why I'm telling you it was a bad idea. Even though you think it helped you grow, it was a bad idea. It was a responsibility that you didn't have to take on.
I didn't know it was a bad idea until it was over, bro. Right? That's one.
That wasn't my point. My point was it was a bad idea. I didn't tell you that you knew it was if you knew it was a bad idea at the time and you did it, that would have been foolish. I don't think you're a fool.
Got you.
I think you learned that it's a bad idea looking back on it.
Yeah.
Terrible idea.
So here's the thing. I'm cultured in sacrificing for relationships, is what I'm saying. And I'm not at the stage right now in my life where I'm prepared to give something up for the sake of a relationship, because I also don't feel like I'm the man that can be who I think I need to be in a relationship for the woman, for the child, for the legacy.
I'm going to tell you
based
this.
on
This is
the
probably the
things
most introspective thing I've probably ever said.
I'm listening. Cut me off.
The man that you're describing is not the man that enters into a relationship. The man that you're describing is not the man that enters into a relationship. The man that you're describing is the man that is the product of a healthy relationship. The man that you're describing is not the man who enters into a relationship, because the man that you're describing is not a single man.
Why do you want me to be in a relationship so bad?
No. It's not that. I'm not
I mean,
saying.
argumentatively, I can't.
I'm not saying that I want you to be in a relationship. I'm saying that, and well, I have told you that in the past. You know, I want you to be in a relationship just because you and our energy is so fly. When you're around my wife, the energy is so fly. I would love if somebody else was able to experience
kind
that.
of be. I know exactly where
You know,
you're coming from.
I understand with that, but what I'm saying to you is that everything that you describe, you know, I don't know if I'm the man that can sustain certain things in a relationship. I'm trying to tell you, and this I'm just telling you from experience. I wasn't that nigga neither. Like, you knew me before Francesca and I got to where we are now.
Facts.
I wasn't that nigga. What I'm trying to tell you is it becomes you when the person that you're with displays those qualities that bring out characteristics that you don't even know you had, like the ability to consider someone else, the ability to consider their feelings before your next action. You know what I'm saying? Like, once that happens, now the relationship manifests itself, should start to grow. You know what I'm saying? But you're not this finished product that goes into a
I'm not trying to be a finished product. I agree with what you said. I know it sounds like that.
I know you understand, and I'm just saying that I'm just making clarity. I'm just giving clarity.
So here's what I think I want to do.
Being so fucking defensive.
No. I agree with what you're saying. Because now I'm not trying to be a fucking finished product. I think that's. Y'all used to argue to everybody all the time. Like, why do you think you need to wait till you're successful to go bag something up and wife it up? I'm saying that there's so much. This is not financial. This is characteristic. This is personality.
I wasn't even considering finance.
But that's the thing. Don't get me wrong. I think I have the tools to be able to wife something up now. But there's so much going on with me that I'm still learning and wanting to learn in isolation that the girl's gonna stumble on me. Like, I've met a few girls lately, and I've started to like have that changed mindset, envisioning like, oh shoot, I can wife this up. I haven't had it in a while.
Right.
I haven't. Because I really didn't want to be like,
Well,
I didn't want to be distracted by it.
Let me ask you another question, because I guess this is pertaining to you, as a single guy. Like, what are those qualities? Like, when you spend time with a woman, like, what are those qualities? Like, that you like, oh shit, I could wipe this woman up. Like, is it because she's bad on the gram? Is it because she looks great with you when you go out?
I
like,
don't date Instagram people. Like,
no. But I'm saying, I'm saying not bad on the gram. You know, It's a bad habit for all of us, everybody nowadays. When we just go refer to Instagram. Yeah. It's like, no, that's not what I mean. But I mean, is it a physical thing that makes you say I could wipe this person up? Because, I mean, I'm blessed because physically my wife is bad as hell, but at the same time, it's, you know, the family she comes from, the values she got, you know, her background, everything kind of meshed and everything just kind of fit so right. So now it's like, what are those qualities of these women that you're spending time with that makes you say, I could wife this woman
Forget that, because I feel like this is a Q&A for A only.
Why?
No, because you haven't. Because how did you find out that she had those qualities? You had to do something. You came from an aspect of being.
I'm gonna tell you.
Because you kind of have telling your story in the sense of, I figured it out. Fuck that. I know where you came from, bro. It's very hard for someone to come from where you came from and be in a situation you in now. And not everyone.
You see, the one thing that I could say, and I hope I word this in a way where if my wife hears it, she understands exactly what I mean by it. But the sexiest thing about my wife was the fact that she demanded a certain level of respect from me. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I was dealing with a lot of people, and I'm not going to sit here and make it out like I always been some old quiet boy in my relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like, I done fucked up a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? But the fact that I was living a certain way, dealing with certain people, and their opinions and their perception of me was just this one singular thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, they didn't see me for anything good that I displayed other than my body and whatever kind of interactions we had physically. So for them to demand that I treat them a certain way, it was like not even something that they thought about, because it's like they only want to be treated the way they want to be treated when they're in my house or in my presence for a specific purpose. You know what I'm saying? Whereas the difference in what separated my wife from all these other people is that she knew what she brought to the table. She's on it like, nigga, you not just gonna be fucking. Like, that's out. Like, we not just gonna be doing this like that's all I'm worth. And she demanded a certain level of respect. And to me, that was fly as hell. Like,
that forces so much more.
To make me feel like I got to earn you.
That helps you understand your value too, though.
Oh, wholeheartedly.
So like, 100%. All right, so respectfully, on this little journey I've been on, that hasn't happened. And it doesn't happen because...
But the reason why I ask you the questions I ask you, and that's why you always say it seemed like a Q&A, I ask you the questions I ask you because I know you so well. And I fear sometimes that things could happen, but I know how stubborn you are. So it's like, I know that if it just, in a hypothetical scenario, we could be out. And I say we, meaning the three of us, meaning myself, my wife, and you. We could be, like, we went to your birthday party, went to my wife's birthday in Mexico. Like, we can be somewhere. I know, hypothetically, that I can meet somebody, we could be in conversation, and I could say to you, yo, hey, Shorty really feeling you. Shorty, you know, such and such. This is what she was talking about. Her pops do this and that. Her mother from over here. And I could give you a great picture. And you'll turn around and be like, yeah, bro, but you don't notice the way she be wearing her hair, though, bro? Like, that shit ain't really for me, though. Like, I can't really. And I'm like, okay, bro, like, you know, you have to. And I'm not, that's what I'm saying. It's not a question and answer, and it's not an interrogation. I'm just trying to understand because I don't know, you know, I don't know what's next for you. I don't know what's next for romantically, whatever you might venture into, but I worry that you're not going to allow yourself to see the greatness that some people have because you ain't unpacked the bag.
Okay, I'll go there. So a lot of my issues with connecting with people is the level of maturity I have for wanting to sacrifice for the value I see it bring to the table. I kind of don't. I can honestly say sometimes I don't deal with people that have the value that I expect for my wife to have.
Well, they don't value themselves to that point. That's what you're getting at? Is that what you're getting at?
Exactly what happens.
Okay.
And I kind of didn't want to say that.
Well, no, but I mean, I just said the same thing in a completely different way.
So in my opinion, a lot of the women, like, I don't want to touch on this because we said, okay, we're going to touch on it. I go on dates with a lot of black women.
Right.
And at the end of a lot of my dates, a lot of women say, oh, you look like you only date Spanish and white women. And I look at them and say,
first of all, what does a person that only dates Spanish and white women look like? What does that look like?
All right, I've always asked that question. And the last answer I got, actually, I didn't really ask that question to the 3 or 4 dates before that. But the last time I did, I was like, nah, I need to know. Tell me what the fuck I look like. But to do that, like, what does that look like? Your swag, you from Brooklyn, it's the way you dress, the type of things you like. So what the fuck does that have to do with who I want and what I'm interested in? Yeah, Then I then proceed to say this. I get what you're saying and I hear something totally different coming out of your mouth. You don't think I like you. And you are saving yourself from that reality, but you're now projecting it on me to make it make sense to you.
Yeah,
that I
don't like you because you're such and such.
Or like, I don't think you like me, and I need to make sure that you do. So tell me you date black women.
It's crazy.
In another way.
Yeah.
So now I'm already dealing with an insecurity that comes from me showing the fuck up.
Right.
I ain't do shit, and then it's like you get through the whole date, and you're like leaning on this statement. Like, I feel like you only date Spanish and black on white women. And I'm like, well, are you saying you don't think you're valuable enough for me to date you? Are you not bringing the version of you that I can like
But you're
and
bringing
fuck with?
some protected version of
Yeah. So now I'm confused. How do I operate in a space where now all these women do that? Even the Spanish ones. I've only dated one white girl. Every person I've ever taken on a date, I've been interested in based on their physique, based on their sexual appearance, right?
Right.
If it's when beyond that, it's because I can fucking talk to you. It's because I like talking to you. It's because there's something
100%.
there. Problem is, I'm always feeling like you don't feel like you're valuable enough to fuck with me. I'm always getting this energy
Well,
where
I
there's an
think-
insecurity where I'm not getting that version
Well,
of Francesca
I was
from
about to
another
say,
woman.
that's exactly
like
what I
nah,
think
yo,
they
I
do, and
demand
yeah,
more.
100%.
Like they're teetering it. They're like,
Well,
oh,
because
why
you
don't
gotta-
you call me?
you
Nah,
also-
nigga, if you want to fuck with me, call me.
Well,
If
you also
want,
got
like I'm not getting that energy back.
You got to also remember that these women are just like we deal with things from our unpacked perspective. These women are doing the same.
The consistency of all these women are making me the common denominator. So maybe there's something I'm doing wrong, which is why isolating myself
is the best route.
is the best route. And that's pretty much what it means. It's like, I don't feel like...
I don't want you to feel like I'm saying that isolation is bad. What I'm saying is I don't want you to isolate yourself to the point where you miss out on things that are good if they present themselves. That's what I'm saying. I don't want you to be so guarded that you don't allow good things to enter. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
like, I ain't saying don't isolate yourself, because I understand the necessity to separate yourself from the bullshit and from the bullshit people. But don't allow the experiences with the bullshit people to make you think every interaction is going to end up in that same...
I don't think that's...
You know what I'm saying?
I think that I could argue that that's how a lot of people operate. I'm using my experience to move better,
100%.
not to guard anything. And a lot of times, here's the real issue. Men go into relationships presenting a version of themselves that they want to be and a version of themselves that a woman wants to see, while still working on the version of themselves that needs correction and facilitating.
That version is never going to move. That version is never going to go anywhere.
Why? Why you think?
The version that needs correction,
because you're pump faking
altering,
and trying to
well,
appear.
not just because we're growing. Just because we're growing, like we're gonna as we grow, perspective's gonna change. Like.
Yeah, but there's, you know what I mean? Like you go into a relationship showing one version of you,
right.
Make sure you bag a chick,
yeah,
and it's also the person you're trying to be.
100%.
But you really got some shit to take care of.
You got other shit bagging, yeah,
and you not taking care of what's in the bag.
Agreed.
And the reason why is because you want something now, and you're projecting something you're working towards. But when shit hits the fan, when crisis reveals character, you're going to show up like the person you're working on, and you're going to be scared because you're going to wonder if that person that you're dating now that you really like
is going
to be patient enough to deal with that.
Yeah, 100%.
Because a lot of times women don't like Francesca don't got to be patient for you.
No,
she doesn't. That's the woman that you have to change for. Right. And not change. I'm talking about evolving. I'm talking about becoming the version of yourself that you always said you was going to be, right. But now. Like she don't, like, a lot of times be like, yo, I'm not jacking shorty like that. I'm not about to up right, and like I'm not doing all that sacrificial shit for her.
Right.
Like the stuff that you always said you had to do, that you didn't do, you are now willing to do it for the right woman because that woman has now showed you, nah, I'm not gonna wait for her to be patient enough for this, 100%. And then I catch the L, and now I'm fixed up for the next chick, but I don't know when that next chick's gonna pop out, which is my situation.
Exactly.
Right. And also, I think I'm only getting the value that I'm bringing to some extent. Because I don't honestly believe, I believe the value
you give off
that I'm giving off is genuinely going to get what I'm expecting. Like what I'm asking for the woman that loves herself enough to present herself in a certain way. I've dealt with insecurity from women from day one all the time.
Well, you have to remember, and before we started filming today, you made a statement, and you said, we're the most wanted men on the face of the earth, whether it be good or bad. Black men, we're most wanted by police and, law enforcement. We're the most wanted by women, most wanted by athletic sport owners and,
facts.
Shit like that. I understand. But the insecurities are something that come across the board, no matter who your wife is, no matter who your husband is, no matter who your significant other is. That's just a human quality that we're going to have to navigate. The question is, are we willing to navigate certain qualities with everybody? Like, I'm not willing to deal with certain people's insecurities. But certain people who have displayed other qualities, I'm willing to nurture those insecurities because 9 out of 10 things on this checklist are what's up. But I need for you to know that I see these 9 things. See, that insecurity is just one of those things on the checklist.
Facts.
But once you're secure that I see these 9 things, insecurity gonna take care of itself.
I've dated a lot of people that have tried to hide their insecurities.
We all do.
Yeah, but we're talking about like I'm knee deep in it, and now all of a sudden a whole nother human being pops up.
Oh, that happens.
And that shit,
That happens.
when I tell you, it's like
I had a child with that. I mean, I literally have a human being walking around this earth with somebody I don't really even know. Like really. Like really. So I know exactly what you're talking about. Because people will present a certain picture, but now there's no taking a child back. You understand? So now, like, unfortunately, that situation is working out the way it is, but that's neither here nor there. But you can't take back certain things once you go down certain roads.
which is where experience, like,
And
and
I
that's
get
why
it.
I know you can't just be showing up and giving energy to anybody,
Absolutely
hoping
not.
that they're matching that shit.
Right.
So I ain't gonna hold you. I want to know what the insecurities are, and I'm being me. Honestly, you and I, like the types of men we are, we expose them just being ourselves.
Yeah, well, it's
so
like
depending
the,
on
the insecurities come when you walk in a room with somebody. Like, I mean, when you walk in a room with somebody, when I walk in a room with somebody, like I'm not dealing with some confidence issues right now because I'm not able to be in the gym and whatnot, right? But when I walk into a room, when you walk into a room, like, heads turn. Now, she probably won't like me saying this, but like insecurities happen for everybody. Like, you gotta understand for Francesca, she's used to going in a room and heads turn because they looking at her. You know what I'm saying? Not to say they're not
like
looking at her
everybody-
now, but what I'm saying is now they're looking at us. Or now it's speculation.
uneven.
Who are they looking at, me or you? You know what I'm saying? So now there's a lot of things that you can unpack with insecurity right there, because insecurity could just be a person not feeling like they're not enough, just feeling like they don't get as much shine. Some people are jealous of their spouse, of their significant other.
bro.
Some people, that happens.
Bro.
You know what I'm
And
saying?
it's like,
an
and that's
insecurity in
something you
itself.
won't find out until shit hits the fucking fan.
Yeah.
And like, that's what I felt like I dealt with it in my marriage. So a lot of the things that I address with how I approach relationships, I don't complain about. I just move different. Like, then there's the things that I address that I'm holding myself accountable for. But there's things about women that I can't deal with. And I'm thinking it's because of what I gotta change, what I gotta evolve with, my emotional intelligence, my empathy, things that I haven't worked on sincerely. My friends, you check me a lot, my homegirls check me a lot, and it's like getting checked to the point where sometimes now it's like a learning process
Yeah,
where
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
getting, oh shit.
Like,
I
you're
gotta
starting to
shift
see
that
it,
now.
like, oh,
Now,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like before I owned a lot of my bullshit because it was who I identified myself as.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, yeah, that's not gonna work for the chick that I want to not feel insecure.
Remember that line in that J album when he said that fuck everybody attitude ain't natural. You know what I'm saying? And that's real. It's just the realest thing that, you know, a nigga can ever say. It's like, for so long, we've been on some like, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to a relationship, and again, not everybody's ready to be in a relationship. Not everybody's healthy enough to be in a relationship. Not everybody's unpacked the bags necessary to be in a relationship. Or not everybody are in the process of unpacking their bags with their significant other, and meaning have things out on the table where they know what makes them tick. Like, I'm a complex figure, like, bruh, I mean, may look like just some dumb nigga with muscles, you know, all the time, but the scars that life has put has made dealing with me a very difficult task. I could bench press 400 plus pounds. Francesca's stronger than me because I personally couldn't deal with somebody who was emotionally fucked up the way I am. You know, I couldn't deal with somebody who wakes up having night terrors 1 o'clock in the morning. Couldn't deal with it. Couldn't do it. I could do it maybe once or twice. You wake up 7 days out of a fucking week screaming because of nightmares. I'm gonna be like, listen, I'm kind of done with this shit. I need to get a good night's sleep. You know, sleep at your crib, I sleep at mine.
I get that.
You know, like, so I say, you know,
No, I get it. Reason why I'm saying that is because I used to go on dates and say, yo, I'm a lot. I'm a lot to deal with.
Right.
I come with a lot of not drama, but like I'm a complex dude. I overthink a lot.
Yeah.
I overanalyze a lot.
A lot of
I address
controversy,
shit.
maybe-
Yeah, like,
maybe
and I also
way to
teach
say it.
people how to treat me very quickly.
Teaching people how to teach you could.
That's a
sometimes
complex conversation.
You know, we're not gonna do what we did on episode 1, but sometimes
It could
be borderline.
right. However,
You know, the
I
way
have
you
that's
want them to
like
treat
that's
you, you
how
gotta treat them that way as well.
That's how those are the things I need to work on. So I
Right.
need to work on what's something that creates a standard or boundary, and what's something that's telling someone you need to change for me. Like I don't want to be that guy because I'm not changing for you either.
But now,
in the sense of
just to bring things back
for
full
you.
circle, when things just right, when things are just right,
You evolve.
you evolve and you make those changes, and you might fight. You might. I think it's a natural thing to fight the change, to fight evolution. I think it's a natural thing to fight evolution. Like, for instance, this might be way far-fetched. Maybe you don't understand it, but this is the way my mind is making the example right now. We fight global warming. People talk about, oh, the glaciers are melting, this, that, and the third. We're fighting evolution, but God has a plan. God knew when he made the glaciers, he knew the glaciers was going to melt. So we're fighting evolution, but what are you fighting? It's already part of the plan.
Yeah.
So I think that when you are lucky enough to find that person, your mentality naturally stops fighting the evolution, and you start to grow and naturally change.
But that's a maturity
into a person.
thing, bro. Like you've matured, bro.
But that's what comes with it.
And-
More
and I
maturity
think- and
is
I
part
think-
of that growth. That's
right.
so
And I
it's
think
all-
when you find that level of maturity to now like pick your battles and love more and be not be right more,
haven't
but love
found that
more.
maturity yet. I fight over everything.
Right, and
I'm
the thing is-
I'm immature. I don't know how she deals with me.
Well, I'm glad you said that because a lot of times I feel like
fight over
people
everything.
misinterpret that energy as someone that doesn't know how to love. Now, I just have no problems going after what I feel is right and then going through all these like back and forths. I'm not debating my ass off.
Can I say something that's kind of left field, but it's not left field though, because it's pertinent to what we're saying. We always talk about, you know, other people's insecurities and the women's insecurities coming into our relationship. Imagine how insecure I was coming out of prison as a 34-year-old man, no money in the bank,
So
no
much insecurity
job,
in that.
living with my moms. Like, you know, 34 years old, I come from behind the wall. You know, it wasn't 12 straight, but it was 12 with a 16-month gap. Like I took a vacation from prison and then went
right
back.
back, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So imagine how insecure I am when I'm courting a woman who's driving a Range Rover and I'm living with my mother. You know what I'm saying? Imagine how insecure I am. Imagine the things that I got to deal with. Like, so a lot of the things that we fight about in a relationship that we as men interpret as
A woman being insecure.
It's
really-
just us projecting our
Yeah.
insecurities.
So the truth is
on them.
that is what I'm
Because
working.
I'm gonna keep it a stack. I don't wanna cut you off. I'm gonna keep it a stack. But my wife does very well for herself. Very educated, several degrees and all that. So there's a part of me,
That doesn't feel adequate.
there's a part of me that'll always, not always, but there's a part of me that wrestles with that. My wife is a beautiful woman. She could have any nigga in the world that got abs. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got abs, okay. What else you got? You know what I'm saying? Okay, you got big arms.
Bro,
what else you got?
I think
You know,
I've been dealing with the same thing. So
I'm-
I lead the same lifestyle, even though I didn't have to do the time behind the wall. I've had to live with the felony for the last, almost 17 years of my life.
Bro, I'm felony fit. I don't live with a felony. I'm felony fit.
I get that. What I'm
Predicate
saying,
multiple. Nah, I'm not bad. I'm not bad. I just said
facts. But I think I had to own that I'm not my felony after a while. One, two. There's more to me than what I can't get, what I can't do.
Or what
you know
you
saying?
haven't done.
Haven't done.
That's the biggest thing. There's more to you than what you and I struggle with that too.
Yeah,
There's more
we
to me
we
than what
talk
I
about it
haven't
all
done.
the time. Like it's like we only pay attention to our lack of accolades because we don't get to walk around with those papers.
But
and those rewards that everyone gets to show off. But
Every
in
so
reality,
often I
you know how
stop
much
and-
experience that we've been able to have
Yeah,
with
and every
life
so often
that
I walk
allows
around,
us.
I look around me, and I'm like, damn, if I take some of these people right now and remove them from their reality for 12 years, I'm not confident that they'll bounce back and be like,
Figure this shit out.
figure it out. You know what I'm
Like
saying?
I always say, my shoes are way bigger than they look.
Yeah.
Like and the thing is, I don't mind like that reality check from time to time, but sometimes I think that's the problem going into these situations. My insecurities are way louder, and I've been covering them up so much that I project it out on a woman. So
I just be even more transparent with you and say that fitness, in and of itself, is an avenue for my insecurity. And not because, and I just, first and foremost, I've said for years, and I've said it on the gram, said it on different posts, the most insecure people I know are the bodybuilders and the athletes that live in the gym. They are the most insecure people I know. And I'm gonna tell you why. Yeah, it might not be their home life, their relationship, at least not to us. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, if a nigga's insecure, then his wife is going through the bullshit. That's
Facts.
number one. Don't get what he presents to the world.
Facts.
Once he goes behind the closed door in his home, and he don't like who he sees in the mirror,
Which is
everybody who lives under that household, under that roof, suffers. You know what I'm saying? Suffers. So that's number one. But number two, I've always said that the people who live in the gym
are running away from something.
bro, there's nobody who cares more how the world sees them than the people who live in the gym. Because the only reason you live in the gym, people could listen. Any doctor will tell you, any nutritionist will tell you, 30 minutes to 45 minutes of workout a day is enough to sustain a healthy lifestyle. Nigga, you will not be in the gym 4 hours at a time. 4 hours at a time. And that's not when we making videos. That's not Instagram real shit. This is just a workout.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's been times my wife calls me, where you at? And it's almost like an argument. What do you mean where I'm at?
You know where I'm at.
You know where I'm at. No, nigga, you told me you was going to the gym at 1 o'clock. It's 6:30. Where are you at? No, I'm really in the gym. But this is
where I'm at, yeah.
It's fun to us. We like it.
But it's our escape.
But that's because we ain't unpacked the bag. That's only because we ain't unpacked the bag. Because there's insecurities that build that. You're putting on an armor because you don't think who God made you is equipped to take on the world's punishment.
I will own that those are the things that I think
because everything I do go back to the fact that I'm big and strong. Like everything that makes me weak, so, I compartmentalize and I make it something that becomes a hindrance for me because
I'm glad you're saying this because you're articulating it so much better.
Because I'm strong, I'm supposed to be able to be emotionally strong, but that's not the fucking fact.
In this journey, in this separated journey, separating myself from needing to appear away, like a lot of my insecurities are now being confronted, addressed.
Right.
I can never do it in a relationship because I never really know if you fuck with me like that enough to love me through my shit. Like,
but would you allow yourself to be that vulnerable to know?
Eventually, I'm gonna have to because that's the test of being healed doesn't come from you observing it and then
knowing
saying
it for yourself.
It's going through the motions of responding differently the next time an occasion happens or a risk or something happens for your character to show up healed.
Right.
Like you can't tell me, you healed your knee after surgery and
like a person who smokes cigarettes can't tell you they quit smoking cigarettes unless they're offered a cigarette and they turn it down.
That and let's think in actually being healed from something. Right. When you injure your back or your knee, and you go through
Nobody
rehab,
knows why I just brought that example. You know why?
I know exactly. Which is why I'm going literally the other way. Literally the other way, nigga. But like when you injure yourself,
there in the other room, probably like, oh shit.
Because that argument lasted at least 30 minutes. Literally got us to the point where we didn't even know we waited as long as we did. So let's just say you injure yourself and you have an injury that you go through and maybe a leg injury. Let's say you go through surgery, rehab, and you start walking. You do not know that you're healed until you start running after a bus or you start running on a treadmill or you get to use your leg the way you were using it before or
and it
better.
becomes instinctive.
Yes, and you're not wondering if you're healed. So don't tell me
about it.
Your leg is healed and I haven't seen you run. That's the act of understanding what healed looks like when you can actually use the thing that was broken.
Right.
and it could be put to the test.
When it just looks like it's good.
Yeah, when you're now walking normal and you're now everything's fine. Oh, it's healed. All right, so
Okay,
run for me.
So sprint
Run for
40
me.
yards.
And then not need the surgery again.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I get that.
And I
That's
think a lot of people forget.
That's a great
Like
example.
you can't go into a relationship, leave a relationship, say you understand it. I've gone through the time of isolation. I'm good now. And then
go
tell
back into another
the date that you're dealing with, yeah, I've healed. Well, how do you know you've healed? Well, because I know everything that I went through, and I feel better about it, and I feel good. My knee feels good.
Right.
All right, so let's give this 6 to 8 months. Let's go through all the shit you went through in your last relationship, and let's see you respond.
See how you respond. Yeah, exactly.
Because that is the test. Or let's know if you can create the boundaries and standards, not to even have to go into that based on what you learned in your last relationship.
Facts.
So a lot of the things that I'm dealing with now is based on me understanding my
And make
insecurities.
it even more complicated. Why don't we enter into it, do that 6 to 8 months, and understand that even if a situation presents itself that looks like another one, be mature enough to know that the players are completely different, so you have to react to it differently.
Which is true, but a lot of times when you don't own shit, when you think you've healed, because you feel better,
because you feel
like
better,
now you're like
think
you're feeling
yeah.
you looking at a triggered situation like, oh, that's Tommy. Fuck Tommy. When it's Johnny in front of you,
Right.
and you still responding like you're dealing with Tommy, and it's not
Right.
that's not how you handle it, and you're a different person, so you can't use those experiences, and that's what I think that's my problem. I've been going through these experiences, not behaving differently when it came to these circumstances, situations. I have problems with my insecurities that I haven't really been able to acknowledge fully, roots of.
Right.
So I don't think that I want to keep hurting women and hurting myself in the process of dealing with women, going through these relationships that build up, build out, and to just collapse and fall, and one of us are heartbroken, to only find out that I still got work to do. So now it's like, all right, let me figure out how to adjust myself through friends and friendships and family members, that people that love me. Date them.
I think there's also a very fine line that people got to walk when it comes to intention, when it comes to the courting process. Understand that not every interaction has to materialize into a relationship, right?
Yeah.
So if you enter into something, you don't always have to present a picture of a certain thing. If we tried to present a picture that was as honest as we wanted to be, or as honest as we said we were trying to be, a lot of failed relationships would never happen to begin with.
It's true.
No?
It's true. And a lot of times when you reflect on everything that you've experienced, sometimes you'll realize it happened for the best. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I hated all the stuff I had to go through with the peoples I was in relationships with the opportunities I had to grow into something that didn't manifest into what I thought. But like when I sat back and I realized like I ended up not having the marriage that I thought I was gonna have, I turned into a whole nother human being after that relationship. I became someone I never thought I could become. And the same thing happened after my last relationship. God introduced me to a version of myself I never knew was there, which is why I'm trying not to narrate this story anymore.
Right.
Which is why it's like, yeah, I want a wifey. I want companionship. I want to build the house and the home, create a legacy. I like the idea of investing with my partner, bouncing ideas off my partner. I hate having to call homegirls and homeboys, yo, what you think about this?
Right.
Like a lot of times I don't do it because I feel like you sometimes can't just let your stuff out like that. And then
because you gotta be fear of the rejection or misunderstanding.
Not only that, your perspective is tainted by the wrong, like a person that doesn't even have the vision to understand it.
Okay.
So now they're giving you an opinion on something that they have no idea about.
Can't really conceive it.
Yeah, like their experiences didn't even allow them to have an opinion.
Right.
And I'm going to them. And they don't know me as well as they think they do to actually dive into what, like if you call me, because I can respond to you based on who I know you want to be and what you want.
Right.
Not so much based on only the things I've experienced and my opinion.
Right.
Bro, I'm not the one to answer that. I've done that before.
Fact.
I've definitely said, like, nah, I'm not the guy to call for this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you should. Like, not that I don't think you should call me, but I don't think I can give you an opinion that is experienced enough for you to make a response to it. But my perspective doesn't really weigh here.
Right.
So I would definitely
That's
say,
something that comes from maturity, though, knowing that your perspective is not useful or not helpful.
well, you know, we come
and
from
it will
a
just further confuse somebody. And
yeah, we come from a field where you're supposed to refer out. Like,
Yeah.
yo, you get someone in front of you that can't do this, can't do that, and if you know better, you do better and say, listen, I got somebody I think that you should work with, and I've been in that space where I've
Right.
been humbled enough to know, like I
I'm
have
not the
access
trainer
to
for this
someone
guy.
else. Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
the trainer for you. Like
Right.
I don't even want to go down this road because all I'm gonna do is avoid the thing that you need to change.
Right, and or end up hurting you.
Yes, which is what happens. You
We're talking figurative now, but it could be literal.
right,
in
which
that
is my
sense.
point.
Right.
So like a lot of times in this process, like I yearn for a connection like that. I yearn for like if you talk to the girls I've been dating, I spent quality time with them. I loved it.
Right, but you didn't love them though, and
I don't know if that
and you don't know if you could.
because the thing is,
But it ain't like it ain't
I'm
what
just
they
so
see
locked
in the movies.
in, bro.
Bro, it ain't what they see in the movies.
It's not.
Like,
It's
it ain't
fucking
exactly. And you being locked in and you being on your journey means you gotta stay the course. And if you stay the course, and this is the journey that's for you, the people and the situations that need to take place along this journey,
They will.
They're gonna be in their places, and they just gonna be waiting.
And
they're
it
gonna
won't
be there.
feel like I'm distracting myself from it or I'm losing out on something. Like I kept feeling like
The key
even
is
though-
not to just get so lost though, and just shooting for this success that you miss the blessings. And the blessings don't have to be the people either. I ain't talking about the people necessarily, but that's part of it because of the premise of our conversation. But don't want to be so. Some people are so laser focused that they miss all the blessings life has to give them along the way, and that's what you don't want to do. That's the fine line that you don't want to walk. You know what I'm saying?
I think that I haven't really been as disciplined as I know I can be. I haven't simplified the process of sustaining consistency towards what I say I want.
Right.
Without,
That's my biggest problem as well.
yeah, without
Seeing
without
things
distractions, without like knowing what to say no to,
Right.
knowing what to say yes to. Like I have built up this space of
Trying to appease everybody.
yeah, just
Make every
like seeing like
appointment,
I have to
like-
now start saying if it ain't hell yeah, it's no.
Right.
If it ain't like yo,
Absolutely.
let's do it.
Emphatically yes, then
It should be no because I don't
sense.
need to give any energy with the because I'm also in a transitional phase of my life where I'm addressing a lot of shit that I have to address to be able to live. Period.
Fact.
Like to kind of have a lifestyle sustainable for me to kind of mature. And if I don't figure this thing out now, I'm gonna invite people into some bullshit that
it's just going to metastasize into more unhealthy relationships
Yes.
and more years.
So
of-
my isolation is critical to figuring out how never to come back here, whether
Facts.
someone's a part of the process or not.
Facts.
And I think that's what I had to learn because people coming along with this journey can really, really cloud that judgment of you thinking that you ain't
Yeah,
like that or you don't
it's
gotta
your-
do it now or like
It's your
or like
evaluation and the way you evaluate yourself and the way you evaluate the people around you. It's huge. It's huge because not everybody on this journey is here to stay. And I think we said that a couple times. This conversation alone, like not everybody on this journey is here to stay. So as we evaluate the people around us, as we evaluate ourselves in every given situation, and we see the growth or the regression, because sometimes that happens too. Sometimes you deal with something and it's so traumatic that you don't grow from it. In fact, you retreat. And the next time it presents itself, you're even less prepared because you didn't work on any way to grow past it and to get over it and
That's
to
a
figure
fact.
it out and to come up with a solution.
That's a
so
fact.
you're less prepared than you were the first time. You know what I'm saying?
And it's
So
because
it's
you're diverting from what you were supposed to experience and what you were supposed to learn.
what you're supposed to take from it the
Yeah,
first time
yeah,
you
yeah.
ran,
Yeah.
and now you got to face it again.
And
And
also,
it's
you're
like-
running into something else,
Right.
Just
Blindly.
to cloud the problem that was.
That's
created.
what most of the time. That's what most people run into new situations for, to run out of an old one.
Yeah.
And it's like some people, they call some people, what's that term? I think it's serial monogamist. Like people who like are always in a relationship. Like they might not ever, they might not marry this person, they'll be with that person for 4 years, and then 2 weeks later, after they break up,
Got
they're
a
with this
whole
next
nother
person
dude
for
or
another
another
year.
chick, yeah.
It's like you just want to be with somebody, but sometimes it's not isolation. Sometimes it's just knowing when to separate yourself.
Yeah.
It might not necessarily be isolation because I'm not isolated from everyone. I'm just isolated
That's a
from
fact. No, that's a
y'all, from this group of people or this kind of person. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm
being selective in that evaluation process is huge. It's
I'm
key.
gonna say this. I heard someone say this. What you're attracted to when you're broken will disgust you when you're healed.
That's a dope quote.
She's a pastor. She said this, and it kind of like hit me. I was like, yo, that's probably why. Like, I need to really separate myself, because right now I'm attracted to a lot of things in my brokenness, and like, I've been going through it.
Yeah, no,
And
I know. I get
I'm
you.
single.
I get that.
Like, I'm not in a relationship, and my going through it, I'm looking at things with a broken lens, with a
Right.
like with a
Yeah,
like
tainted with a
yeah, like
through
with
a
all the
tainted
shit
glass.
I'm dealing
Yeah,
with.
facts.
And I don't want to get out of my stuff.
Right.
And now look at you, like, nah, you was a season ago energy.
Right.
Like you looked different
Well, I guess that
when I was different.
Well, I guess the fine line you got to find, the balance you got to find is, can you grow if you find yourself in a position where somebody comes along and you can rid yourself of that isolation, can you still heal and grow while being in a situation? Like, can you do both?
Based on how my last relationship ended, I realized I can, because I started seeking therapy. I went to therapy and I found a lot of things out about myself and the roots
Went
of
to
my
therapy.
Yeah.
What? Black men don't go to therapy, bro. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
They
You know
need
they
to.
do. They
We
need
need
to.
to.
That's
No,
a fact.
that needs to be stressed. I'm saying that for a point.
I know.
I'm saying that so we could,
I actually need to find a new
kind
therapist
of
too.
drill that into the heads of our listeners. And I said to you earlier this week, something was brought to my attention, and I ain't gonna get into it now, but niggas don't even know how to begin the healing process. Everybody says, I'm growing, I'm trying to heal. Niggas don't even know how to begin the healing process. If you
It's just like a term people just
Yeah,
use
it's just
to kind
something-
of be stuck in a way of thinking.
Yeah, to
but it's
be-
like, navigate that for me.
Right. Yeah,
How does it
explain- break
look
it
that
down.
you're going through?
Yeah, break
a
it down
healing
for
process?
me. Like, what are you doing to try to grow? Like, what are you doing? And that's the thing. Like, as black men, as men, the last thing that we are taught to do is to ask for help.
Yeah.
Like
the three words that men are afraid to use is, I need help.
Facts.
And let's just talk from a perspective
Facts.
of trying
and you
to
know
heal.
what's crazy? What's crazy is when you're jaded by pop culture and everything around you,
Yeah.
they would make you think the three hardest words for a man to say is I love you to a woman.
That's true.
When in reality,
That's
a
true.
nigga could spit I love you to anybody he's trying to fuck. And he has no problem with
So
it.
crazy.
But to tell a female, I need help, or I'm not ready,
Yeah.
or this shit hurts.
Like, that's why I'm so mad at myself for like getting these women that have been coming into my life involved with me, because I know better and I'm still rocking and I'm still rolling. And
Well, that's
like
because-
when I get to the point
because-
where I have to be real, it don't add up. It's like I got boyfriend energy all the time. I don't know how to be a fuck boy. I'm a boyfriend energy type of dude. Like, you always tell me like, yo, bro, why are you doing all that? It's like,
Right.
because I don't know how to do it any other way. Like,
Right.
this is just how I move.
Hey, well,
However,
I
don't really know that I want to be with this girl.
Well, listen, I don't want.
For other
I'm
reasons.
not insulting you.
I know that.
I'm not insulting you, but I'm just speaking from a perspective of honesty myself. I was a fuckboy with boyfriend energy. Like I take you out to the movies, but I'll come and see this same movie tomorrow with a different bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just keeping it a stack because there's a difference. And I'm not saying that I'm definitely not advocating for that lifestyle. So like,
Yeah.
I don't.
I wasn't
make
moving
it
like
feel
that.
like I'm reverting to that or making light of that. What I'm saying is that a lot of times we ourselves are confused with the energy that we're giving off because we send off mixed signals.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And the reason why a lot of the women that I've dealt with in my past have had the emotional, connection and then ended up being hurt in the long run is because I was coming
Correct.
like a fuckboy, but I was making you believe that I had this boyfriend energy. You know what I'm saying? So I'm talking to my niggas like, yo, I'm about to smash, but I'm talking to Shorty like, yo, you're really special. You know what I'm saying? So you're giving off that mixed signal. And when you start giving off those mixed signals, now your proverbial bag, the people around you in life, your environment becomes so jaded that everywhere you turn, you gotta be being somebody different. So you can't even ever hone in on who you are to figure out what you really have to offer the next person.
Let me ask you a question. You ever been in a situation where you were very honest about what's going on, what you wanted, what you were doing, like where you think things should go, and the man in you, like the response of, you know, a woman, like
I don't think I've ever been honest with a woman besides my wife.
all right, so damn.
Now that looking back at it, like,
But you ever had a chick say I love you?
I have a messy.
You ever had a chick say I
so,
love you and you say it back, and you know you ain't mean it?
Yeah.
All right, so I no longer, I know what it means to say those words.
Right.
I've known it because I've actually felt that way about a woman or a woman in general. So anytime that would come at me, I'd honestly not say anything. And you know, I was dealing with someone that decided to ask the question, you know, why is it like, why do I feel like I'm making you uncomfortable? It's like, nah, I'm not uncomfortable. I don't know how to tell you to stop, so I don't make you uncomfortable with not hearing what I'm not gonna say.
Yeah, but yeah.
I have nothing. I have no way to give you these words just to appease
Just
the
to
moment.
appease, yeah.
I can't do that.
I get you.
And so like my thing is, I was trying to steer clear of
Just using
mixing
the words
any
frivolously.
signals.
All right.
Like I might be doing things with you that create this loving energy, but I'm not. If I'm telling you I cannot build with you, then you should be making decisions based on what you want.
Here's the thing. And I know you know this already, so this is like, it's whatever, preaching to the choir, but it's the separation. It's the ability for women to separate what we could separate. So where it's like, you're telling her and you're honest, I'm not giving you what you want, but you'll be fucking her later on that night. So when you wake up with her in the morning, she's, in her mind, will think, maybe eventually this will change because we're spending a lot of time together. So the mixed signal comes with...
Might even showing up.
Yeah, the mixed signal comes with the interaction past the thought that you couldn't do anything else.
Yeah.
Like once you decide...
When a man makes a decision
that's
like
real
that...
honesty. That's real honesty. When a man's being real honest to himself. You know what I'm saying? When a man's being... Like,
I shouldn't show up. Which is why...
It's like, why go?
Wait,
I don't
so
know
hold
what's
on.
go there.
Which is where I'm at now. Which is why I can isolate without like the temptation throwing me around. Now, don't get me wrong. I want to court. I want to date. I want to figure things out. I want the not the attention from women, but the connection with women. And I'm starting to see different values in women that I think I like, and I think I want to, you know, attempt to get to know.
Right.
But I'm not going to lay down the pipe on nothing that I do not think I can build with anymore. Because I swear to you, that'd be the number one problem where I'm like, I'm unsure, but I'll pipe it up.
Yeah,
and then
just
when I pipe it up, I'm still not sure, but the pipe was, the joint was good. And then I'm locking in one way, but not any other way.
Right.
It's because...
And then when you do that, because we niggas, you know, locking in, that means when shorty call, you'll call back. When she shoot a text,
yeah, like you entertain it,
and now,
boyfriend-wise, but it's not real.
But that entertainment, because of the differences in ability to compartmentalize relationships and emotion, you know, we as men, more often than not, give off these mixed signals. And that is if we're under the perception that women... We're dealing with a certain woman that values herself in a certain way. Because, you know, just like there's fuckboys, there's absolute sluts. You feel me? Like, so let's not...
I don't think
let's not overvalue
which is weird,
people.
Which
let's
is
call
why,
people... No, just
actually,
value people at their value.
True. And which is
You know
where I
saying?
think the problem lies. I'm not dating a woman that can devalue herself to that in order to understand that what we got going on is just sex. 9 times out of 10, not saying all women that can do that are sluts.
But she's just not being honest with herself as to where she fits in that scenario. Not to say she is a slut and not to say he is a fuckboy, but for them, this is not going anywhere beyond sex. So for all intents and purposes, he's her fuckboy, she's his slut. Simple as that. And that's just honesty. People wouldn't like it, but that's just honesty.
That's a strong.
I mean,
I hear you wholeheartedly, but damn.
Listen, I mean,
to own that, like, all right. So I would argue with myself.
I mean, that's just if you take something really hard about words. I mean, they're words. I mean,
no.
They're just
but
stamps
it's also how
society
the
put on
behaviors
shit. So it's like
played out.
Fuck boy, so what? I'm just saying that unless there's a certain value for the people involved.
It's true.
You know, a certain value.
It's true. Because I can't
I'm
honestly
speaking
say
from
I'm being
experience because I haven't valued myself like that in the past.
Right. I can't say I'm being a man of honor, a man of value, a man of integrity. When I go into something, knowing a woman is going to fall in love, knowing a woman is going to like me. Yo, dude, no
cap. We do that shit. And
no cocky, bro. Every girl I date 2-3 times
fall in love. I can dig it.
Because the sapiosexual energy I give off is already something they didn't know they were going to experience, and now it's like, oh shit, now. Oh, this the nigga for me. And it's like, yo, you don't know what I'm coming with.
Well, not only that.
I'm approaching you with all the right energy.
Yeah,
I'm doing it all right.
I'm approaching you with the most.
The most.
And most of it is bullshit.
Nah, I won't go with that.
I mean, I'm not saying for you.
Oh, yeah, because
bro, I'm coming
very 20% be bullshit.
I'm coming from a person, from a perspective of a nigga who, I ain't have no interaction with nobody that didn't have a particular mind state for a very long time. Like, I ain't know how to disagree. You know, when you a nigga that's been in prison for a long time and you get out of prison and you get into a relationship, you don't know how to disagree with somebody. Disagree? Nigga, I don't disagree with grown-ass people. Disagree, we fight. You dig?
No, I understand. I understand.
So to navigate
you didn't even know
nuances,
how to just
you ain't
respond
even
to things.
know how to respond.
Yeah.
You feel me? So I was giving off all this energy, but all this energy was just a character that I created based off of things I saw,
and survival.
Things I read, what I seen from the outside, looking out those windows in that prison, like, damn, that nigga got a nice car. I want to get one like that so the world perceives me like that. Man, that nigga dressed crazy. I want to dress like that so the world think I'm like that. But 12 years, you was sitting behind this wall. You didn't grow like he grew to get that car, to get that career. Your growth is stunted. You know what I'm saying? You come out of prison 34 years old, but you went in at 22. My nigga, you the equivalent of a 24-year-old maybe, because you ain't never experienced life. Nothing happened that goes on in real life, in your life. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So you don't know how to disagree. You don't know how to tell your wife that you're insecure, because for your entire male life, especially your adult life, you grew up and every morning you woke up, you had to put on this mask of the strongest person in the cell block, because if you wasn't, you fooled. You know what I'm saying? And not necessarily food, but you're vulnerable now. So we don't show vulnerability.
You could be tested. You could be put.
You feel me?
Yeah.
So I'm blessed because, and I say this all the time, bro, I literally have everything in my life right now that I pray for. I was in Northern State Prison at SEG in 2015, and I would be like, damn, I want to get myself situated. I want to get a good job. I want a supportive woman. I want a badass bitch. I'm going to get myself a pit bull. And I got every single thing that I prayed for in themselves. But the whole shit is, God will give you that shit.
You're going to test to see how you.
But are you really worthy of it? Do you deserve it yet? Have you earned it yet? Because I've been on the verge of losing everything that I've prayed for before.
Yeah.
You dig? So it's like
you've had to evolve every time.
And you have to evolve. But you have to
have
do
those
that.
Things or keep those things a sustainable thing.
But you have to make that evolution, and you have to evolve.
Yeah.
With
you can't
that other person still
we
here.
We talked about this. You can't ask for responsibility of something nice and cool and miss out on all the other responsibilities attached to it.
Right. And that's what I was doing. I was begging to have so many things.
Yeah, and it required a different version of Greg.
A different person. I was a different version of myself, being dishonest to myself, being dishonest to God, because I would sit in those prison cells and I would pray to be given a chance to do something. And then just like you said, you get given that chance, you get out there and you realize I'm not prepared for that chance. I was in there praying for a relationship, praying for a job, praying for this, praying for that. Bro, you're not prepared. What education you got? What skills you got? What experience have you got in a relationship? You have to kind of live to figure it out. And then when you figure it out, the challenge becomes figuring yourself out. Because once you figure out the world around you, that's relatively easy, because if you just look around you and know everybody that moves around you, everyone that's moving is lying, and everything that's really there is really there.
Yeah, but when you do
That's
that,
the world around
that gives you a chance to avoid trying to figure that shit out too, because
Facts. True.
that's the distraction. Now it's like, who are you? Well, how do you make decisions?
Right.
How do you earn or demand respect? Like, a lot of that goes into how you present yourself to sustain a relationship. You know what I'm saying? And all those tests for asking God for things, and then being blessed with the opportunity to taste them and then see who you need to be to keep them. It's like, what are you willing to sacrifice to change into for you to have the things you say you want?
Right.
Because now once you figure out that, you're going to start praying for more.
Yeah.
And your tests are going to be just as real.
Even greater.
Yeah.
The more things you get, the more responsibility you get.
Yeah.
So while you're being tested, every test is just like in school. You can't move on to the next grade level until you pass this test. You know what I'm saying? And too many times we try to fast track our way through life where we don't even look at the grades. We don't even realize if we passed or failed.
Which is funny, because that's what
another situation.
So that's exactly why this has been like the experience that we're creating for our listeners, for us as individuals. These conversations are going
I kind of forgot we be having listeners.
Yeah,
I just be kind of thinking I'm
no,
just talking to my
it's
man,
crazy
trying
because
to
we're
figure myself
unpacking
out.
so much stuff
Yeah.
in life
we
this
haven't
way.
been listening to it.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of the things that we want, we have to kind of like reflect on all the bullshit we've experienced to either evolve into something else or detach from where we thought we needed to be, and then try and readjust and go the other way.
Right.
I just enjoy going on this journey with you.
Facts.
And your stories and the way you've had to see things, they're compelling enough for people to have a perspective to understand, like, yo, it ain't that bad. I can adjust through my journey.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, facts.
So I appreciate you guys tapping in with us today. We are Unpacked. Remember to always allow your actions to be guided by love, your thoughts to be rooted in peace, and your life to always mature in happiness. I'm Aaron Eason, Mr. Always Good, Never Bad.
Greg Figaro, a.k.a. Felony Fit.
And we are Unpacked.
See you next time.